Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here, hope you're well. We are going to start applying, we're going to start applying what we've learnt over the past couple of lessons into a practice composition. So we're going to have a little practice, we're going to get stuck, we're going to start undoing lots of things, and we're going to start to put our own objects into here. So you've got a lot of freedom here, and we are going to create a space theme using masking, using layers, using some layer properties like we had in our previous work using the gradient maps. We're going to mask some assets out because we want to look through pictures and find objects that are within pictures from a search. So let's do this first. I want to get an astronaut here looking at the moon, and I'd like the astronaut to be stood on what looks like a rocky outreach here, and so what I want to do is get that composition where I've got this relative kind of rule of thirds happening, and I want my astronaut to be here, okay, and I'd like them, if possible, to be looking this way at a moon and them stood on a rock. So how are we going to do this? Well, we've got to find at least 4 assets. We've got to find a moon, which is 1. We've got to go and find a background, which is 2. We're going to find a astronaut, which is 3, and then we've got to find that rock, which is 4. And you can see that I've split this so that I've got this going this way. You can arrange it however you like. It's got to have balance to it, but you can copy me and follow what I do, but you don't have to. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all these, and we will start to make our artwork. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to go to Unsplash. You can see that I've started searching for things. So this is my night sky. This is going to be my background. I might want this. I might want this, but I've got trees here. It's probably not going to be suitable. That's kind of done for me. I can cut these out, so I can use this and cut these rocks out. I can add more rocks to this in my foreground. This is entirely up to you, okay? But you've got to think about realism. Am I really going to have an astronaut with a house in it, or are they going to be stood on a tree? I don't think so. So I've downloaded my own. You can just go and select here and download. That's the download button there. I'll show you what I looked for next, which was a moon. This one's very simple because I can use my magic wand tool to cut this out. Here is another one, it's pretty good. In fact, I could have chosen that one. This is a good one because I can put this in the corner. You name it, okay? Here I have an astronaut, but the astronaut is facing me. It's not going to be helpful. Next, I search for an astronaut. Like I said, this one's facing me. This one might do if you flipped it over and faced the other way. It's possible. And this isn't an astronaut. I chose this one because I'm going to be able to cut this out. It might be suitable, it might not be suitable, it depends. Lastly is my 4th one. This is going to be harder for you to choose because all we want is the actual rock itself. So you've got to find a good rock or a good solid spot that is going to allow you to be able to get to the rock, and I chose this one here by just searching for rock on beach. I downloaded that. It's up to you, whichever one you choose. You can find these if you want. This might be a good one if you could cut him out. There's a good one. You name it. Okay, so next, what am I going to do? Well, it's going to be the same process as before. I'm going to go and get my rock on a beach to start with. I'm going to go and grab this and drop this into my Photoshop file, into there. Good. don't worry about the orientation, because what I'm going to do now is go and cut this out. So I'm going to pause and use a quick selection tool there and start to select around this. I'm going to pause this and allow you to do this yourselves. So I've selected the sky around here very quickly. I've rasterized the layer, and now I'm going to go and simply delete that out. So I'm going to pause that again and show you the final piece. So here I'm just about to edit the final piece. I've got my eraser tool. I'm going to go and undo that so you can see what's going on. So I've got my quick select tool now, and as I'm selecting around it, it's making a good bunch of choices here, remembering to deselect, and I can go and just use my eraser tool, which is E. So I'm going to go and get my eraser tool, which is right there, and I can start to, you can see those lines that are just in the way. Keep deselecting and just tidy that up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is just very gently now, because all I want is that rock there, so I can drop that off the edge of my work. Now I'm going to use the select tool, the move tool, and now just move this around. As I move it around, I can start to see that there are just gentle artifacts. So I'm going to go and use my move tool now. We use Control T, it's on your shortcut key. I'm going to go and just resize this gently so that I can put my astronaut on there, and that will do me. Go and drop that off there, and that is the beginning of my artwork. Next I'm going to go and put my other layers in here, so you know how to do this now. I'm going to pause the video again. I'm going to go and put in my background and my moon, and you can see how it all fits together. So I'm going to just quickly pause this, and you can come back in a moment. Hey there, so what I've done is I've cut out my moon using the Magic Wand tool, because it was all black around the outside. I've just reshaped it so we've got this crater here facing the astronaut, because I'd quite like to colour that later on. I think it would have a good effect. Double click it, and now I'm ready to go and add my background too. I'm going to pause this again, allow you to see the next part. So that you can see how this works, when I drop in a new layer, you can see that it drops it onto the top layer, which means that it blacks out and blanks out all the others here. So what I'm going to do is double click this and bring this into the artwork. I'm now going to drag this underneath the rock and the moon, and you can see how this starts to create a good composition so far. Next I'm going to go and add the astronaut, because I'd like him to be stood here facing the moon-ish, and that's going to require using the quick selection tool, and we are going to have to be very careful with the selection here. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video again, allow you to do yours, and I should have an astronaut here at the end. So I've got my astronaut statue here ready to be put onto this plinth, and I've made a selection. Now I'm going to use what I know from my previous lesson, and in this practice we're going to go and quickly mask this out, and then I can use my X key like I've done before, and I can start to paint using my brush tool, which is here. And what's going to be good about this is the way that I can start to just very carefully feather the edges and make a much better and smoother selection, especially where the helmet is concerned, because the reflection there does look like the actual surroundings that the statue was in. Make sure this is all out the way, and now I'm ready to place the astronaut. And now I'm ready to go and add a gradient map. So I'm going to allow you to pause it, have a look to see what I've done. You can pause the video right now. I'm going to pause it and make sure that my gradient maps are working, and then I'm going to come back in a jiffy. So I'm here and I'm ready to add the last part, and that is a gradient map to my artwork and into my practice composition. So here I've got my night sky, my rocky beach, my moon, and my astronaut mask that we've been learning about. Lastly, I'm going to go and add a gradient map, and the gradient map has gone really weird. I'm going to go and click on my swatch here, and I'm going to go and get the duotone gradients that we imported and loaded last time. They should still be on your computer. The one that I liked the most when I started to play around with these, I went through about 5 and found a good set, and I liked this one because it's relatively dark. The colours actually come through, so I don't need to move these sliders too far around, but the starting point where I want my light to be, I can start to get that colour midpoint just so I can see detail in the moon and in the astronaut itself. I'm going to hit OK. You can see I don't move the sliders too much. Hit OK, move it out of the way, and my last job may be to go and get the text tool and put in my name and drag it down to the bottom like that. There, done. We can save that, export it, and we are ready to rock and roll with our main task. Good luck.